man said. It reached up and started to pull off its helmet. The cowboys yanked their horses back, but inside the alien's helmet was a pretty normal-looking human. Late 30s, blue eyes, brown hair. "Sorry to drop in like this," the man said. "I'm Neil Armstrong." He pointed to the man coming down the ladder. "That's Edwin Aldrin."
"Call me Buzz,"
the second man said, hopping to the ground. "We're American astronauts," Armstrong said. That meant nothing to the cowboys.
"Astronauts, you know,"
Buzz said, pointing up.
"We fly to space."
The cowboys stared at the astronauts. The astronauts stared at the endless plains of grass. "Let me take a wild guess," Neil Armstrong said. "This is not the moon." Chapter 2. "Okay, guys," Miss Maybee sang out to her 4th grade class. "Who thinks it sounds like fun to go to the moon?" "I'd rather go to lunch," Doc said. Most of the kids laughed. Even Miss Maybee smiled a little. "I hear you, Doc," she said. "But first, we're going to do something even better. We're going to read about history." The kids didn't moan and groan like they usually did when it was time to study history. Reading about space sounded pretty cool. Also, some very strange things had been happening in history lately. Ms. Maybee held up her copy of the history textbook. "Today, we'll read about the first people to walk on the moon. American astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin." Kids opened their books. Doc turned to his stepsister, Abby. They both looked worried. "So, yesterday we read about the liftoff," Ms. Maybee said. "Neil, Buzz, and Michael Collins climbed into Apollo 11, which sat on top of a rocket nearly 400 feet tall. The rocket blasted off from Cape Canaveral, Florida, zooming the astronauts into space at over 20,000 miles per hour. As each stage of the rocket burned up its fuel, it fell away, splashing into the ocean. And Apollo 11 began its 3-day journey to the moon. But it wasn't aimed at the moon. Can anyone guess why not?" "The moon's always moving," Maya said. "It's orbiting Earth." "Right," Ms. Maybee said. "So the engineers at NASA, that's the agency in charge of our space program, they had to figure out exactly where the moon would be in 3 days. They had to hit a moving target from 240,000 miles away. Incredible, right?" "How'd the astronauts go to the bathroom?" Carter asked. Ms. Maybee sighed. "Seriously?" "No, it's just there's no gravity in space," Carter said. "So how do you keep, stuff from floating around?" "Okay, I see your point," Ms. Maybee said. "We'll come back to that. Let's get to the most famous moment of all, the moon landing. Abby, will you read for us, please?" Abby read aloud. "On July 20, 1969, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin crawled into the lunar module called the Eagle. Michael Collins stayed behind in the command module, the Columbia. The lunar module separated from Columbia. With Armstrong at the controls, Eagle fired its engines and flew toward the surface of the moon." "This part gives me goosebumps every time," Ms. Maybee said. Abby continued. "Moments later, an alarm rang. Warning lights flashed. The computers on Eagle were crashing. Armstrong did not panic. He had years of experience as a pilot and astronaut. He was confident he could still land the ship on the moon. But then suddenly, the lunar module disappeared. Gone, just like that. No Neil, no Buzz,